Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Ketchadori.
Awesome. Welcome back to another very special episode here on Yeukai Business Show. We are so delighted that you would take time to listen to the conversations we are having here. And as always, today is no different. We bring you some of the finest business owners, experts, consultants, and coaches on the show so that they can help you move your business from where it is to where you want to be. In fact, my guest today is going to share with you what is actually working today. Not what used to work 5 years ago, 3 years ago, or even 2 years ago, but what is working today. In fact, that's one of the beauty of these episodes is because we are constantly looking for amazing people that are making huge headway in the world of business, helping people do what they want to do and doing it in style. And today is no different. My guest is going to share with you exactly the step-by-step process of achieving what you want to achieve today. Now, before I introduce our guest here, can I remind you to make sure you are participating in the community. There is a link below this recording here where you will be able to join if you are not yet part of the community, or if you are part of the community, you'll be redirected so you can join and join the conversation that is going. Remember, these conversations, they may be simple, they may lead to a different end goal. In fact, they could change the whole trajectory of your business or even your life. So I highly, highly encourage you to be part of the community. Let's come back to our guest. Thank you so much for joining us here. We're so delighted. I know how busy your schedule is, but for you to take time out of your schedule and be generous with your knowledge, it truly is an honor of mine. Thanks again for joining us here. Now, to get us started, for those who don't know you, or maybe haven't come across the work that you do, would you tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of your background, your education, and your experience in this area? Primarily, some of the things that you have done for other people, like business owners in our community. And maybe while you're at it, you could talk about whether you have been an overnight success. I say that with a tongue in cheek because I know there isn't anything of overnight success. If you haven't, what sort of things you've had to do to become an expert in this area.
So I've actually been an entrepreneur since 2015. Started with vending machines, had a moving company for a while, did junk removal, also mobile detailing for vehicles and cars and things like that. And then after in 2019, I began picking up real estate. I started, really didn't have any formal training or anything. I really learned a lot and pieced a lot together through YouTube. And learned a lot about, the real estate business. I found out about real estate wholesaling. It's one of the main things that I ended up doing first. And I dug into it and I just became obsessed with it. Then in that time frame, had a lot of failures, had a lot of successes as well. Took me some time to really get going and get some traction in the business, but I just kept being relentless and very consistent. And, been able to make a living out of, what I do. And, been able to scale, and now coming fast forward 2022, and part of a really big operation, and we have systems in place and things like that make the business, much easier, for us. As far as some of the experiences that I've had, with as far as real estate, I've had many experiences and some ups, some downs, but I've figured out what I like to call the blueprint of actually, being successful in this business of wholesaling real estate. And I've been able to teach, many people of actually how to actually wholesale as well. And I just want to spread that wealth and spread that knowledge as well. And I also am on like 5 different social media platforms. And by being on those platforms, is being able to teach me and be able to show other people how to do what I do. And it's really giving out a lot of free content. So people can kind of learn, and if they want to learn more, of course, they can always get mentorship from me and get like one-on-one. But in the process of like developing digital courses and digital things right now to be able to spread the wealth across the world, and not just in my in the U.S. I want to spread the knowledge everywhere. And definitely was not an overnight success. It was not something that happened overnight. Definitely had to grind. Definitely had to work for it over a span of time. And I'm still working. I'm still grinding, still learning, day in and day out. But definitely not an overnight success. It definitely took time for me to be able to get to the point where I am today.
That's brilliant, and thanks for covering that. Now we want to dive deep into talking about the very first step that business owners, those that may be starting from scratch, or those who are looking to reinvent themselves, ought to take to ensure success. And maybe we could talk about the best way for them to take these steps, and if there are any tools or apps they can use to make this very first step easier moving forward. And if we have got enough time, maybe we could just cover a little bit about what they can do to get unstuck in the event that they go stuck on this very first step.
So the very first step that someone needs to do in this business would be first to just change their mindset. They have to open up their mind to greater and greater things. They can't be thinking in the same context that they are thinking in today. It takes a lot to be an entrepreneur. It's a big step, a big leap, I would say, from the traditional 9 to 5. And you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So the first things first, I would say, is to change the mindset, whether that's reading books, whether that's getting mentorship, whether that's, opening and exposing yourself to high level people, high level millionaires, billionaires, being next to big, people in charge of big companies, big brands, so you can learn directly from them. But it all starts with you. You have to change that mindset first. So honestly, before even getting into the real estate business, saying that's something you want to do, you have to actually change your mindset first. And I preach on this all the time because it's very important. With that, your mind is the most powerful tool. And if you're not able to change your mind, then you won't be able to reach the success you want to reach in this business. And you'll just be really going on a hamster wheel, even in this business as well. First things first, they want to change the mindset.
That's awesome. Thanks. I love how you've simplified things there, and I can see how anybody, pretty much anybody, can apply that step. Now, with that same mindset, let's dive deep and talk about the next step or the second step that they ought to take. And how perhaps we could look at how they can implement this step right now, not later on, but right now in their lives today.
Well, I would honestly say after changing the mindset, the first thing that you want to do inside of this real estate wholesale business is understand your market. So understand where you are, what city you're in, if it's a hot city, if it's a cold city, figure out exactly what your population is, like really hone into your area. And then once you hone into your area, what you'll do is you'll get in your car, put $20 of gas in your car, and you drive around everywhere in your area in different neighborhoods and things like that. And you want to find like distressed properties. You want to find properties that have tall grass, boarded windows, maybe like an overstuffed mailbox, notices on the door, just like a very unkept property. You want to find these properties and you want to jot down the addresses to these properties, right? Download the addresses and copy the addresses to these properties. And then you want to use something called skip trace. So you have the names, you have the property addresses. What you do with the property address is you need to figure out who the property owner is, and you want to also figure out who the what the number is, the phone number. And then once you figure out those two things, you can figure out the phone number by skip tracing the homeowner. And you can use a company called batchskiptracing.com. So it's batchskiptracing.com. And you skip trace the person, and you get their phone number. It'll spit you back out a phone number. It costs like 15 cents or something like that. And in that process, you can call them up. You call them up in front of their house, call them up, after you get a list of about 50 to 100 properties, and you call them up and you try to go ahead and problem solve and see what's going on with that property. That's the best way, as a beginner with a low budget, that you be able to, start getting some traction and being able to get some very good leads on properties and get some things closed, and I have an ebook actually talking about the steps, the 5 steps that, get started in this business. And it walks you step by step on actually, getting this done from a beginner.
Wow, this is incredible. I love how you're simplifying these secrets, these systems, and these steps for everybody to apply today. Now, before we jump on to talk about the third steps, I want to talk to Bill in our audience today and anybody listening for that matter. Remember what we always talk about on this show, never to leave a place of discovery without scheduling when you're going to apply what you're learning today. The reason for that is if we don't schedule it, we will not do it. So I'm hoping that you are scheduling mentally if you're out on the run, or maybe you're driving your car, or whatever you may be doing. Just make a mental note. When are you going to apply one of the steps that you have learned today? And because it is so small or very simple, that doesn't mean it's not going to bring tremendous results. Remember, it is the small hinges on a door that swings massive doors. So it will be just one of these amazing steps we are learning today that could open incredible opportunities for you. Well, let's go back and talk about that very third step. And maybe we could talk about it from a place where somebody has tried it and they have failed and they're feeling like they cannot do it anymore, or they cannot start again anymore, and they're stuck. How can they get started again?
Well, honestly, one of the main things I see people in this business struggle with is consistency. So as an entrepreneur, it's something that's not easy. It's simple. It's simple to do certain things, especially in this real estate business, but it's not easy. And I stress on that. People are not consistent. People will go out and they will, go drive. It's called actually driving for dollars, as the sense where you go out and drive around and try to find these properties, these distressed properties, and then, reach out to the homeowner. That process of that is called driving for dollars. Now, with this process, people will do it for, maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days, maybe even a week. And when they don't get any traction, or, people, it might be rude to them on the phone, or, just might not go their way. People have very thin skin, they get intimidated easily. They don't really have like this thick skin. And the thick skin honestly comes with talking to more and more and more people. And over time, that's something that you develop. But the main thing that I feel like people run into is the consistency. So in order to be more consistent, what you need to do is figure out a schedule, figure out a plan, figure out how many people you want, how many homes you want to acquire in a day, which meaning like how many leads. Then you take those leads and you figure out how many calls you're going to make. Out of those calls, you're going to figure out how many offers you're going to make. And then out of those offers, how many deals you'll close. So what you really need to do as an entrepreneur, as a real estate investor, as a beginning wholesaler, you want to make sure you track your KPIs. Your KPI stands for key performance indicator. And once you track these, you'll be able to reverse engineer what it takes to actually get a deal done. So you'll know how many leads you need to talk to get to a deal. You reverse engineer that, you'll figure out how many actual leads you need on a daily basis to be able to make that happen.
Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Thank you again for that. This is incredible. Let's talk about the tools, because in my own experience, I've discovered that there are amazing tools out there that simplify the whole process. In your experience, based on what you know and helping many people in this area, are there specific tools that you recommend that business owners can apply today? And if their website, maybe you could mention those ones so that people can go there straight away and find this content to help them become what they want to be and reach those goals here today.
Of course, of course, of course. Well, when I actually got started, I really started on a very, very tight budget because I quit my job. So originally, I quit my job that I was working in. I went full blown into this real estate business. So I didn't really have much money to get started. So I had to be very resourceful. So, I mean, of course, you're using your phone, using your cell phone. That's one thing. Of course, that's an expense on its own. You have a phone bill, right? Um, so you also will also need to figure out after driving for dollars. Let's say you want to buy a list, and you buy a distressed list. You go on a website called listsource.com. That's listsource.com, and you can go on there and actually pull a list, and you have different criteria. I have a video on my YouTube channel where I actually break down exactly how to pull a list from List Source, and you guys can check that out whenever you get a chance. But you go there, you pull a list, you put your criteria on there, whether it's single family houses, townhouses, condos, whatever you want to do. In your criteria, you put the year built. You put some motivation levels in there, like some equity and things like that, to be able to compound on this list. And you grab that list from List Source, and then you actually can skip trace this list on batchskiptracing.com. Again, that's batchskiptracing.com. And then once you do this, you'll have a bunch of phone numbers. With these phone numbers, you can do many things. You can go ahead and cold call those people where you just dial them up, give them a call, and I have scripts available for people that want to have a script to use, until they get good on their own, to not need a script anymore. But scripts help, use a script when you first get on the phone with these people. So you can cold call these people. You can send them text messages. You can leave them ringless voicemails. A ringless voicemail is where you record a message and then you drop the voice message right directly into someone's voicemail, like without even calling them. It's very great. So people respond to you. This is different levels of marketing. These are different forms of marketing that you can use when you have someone's phone number. And just by having the address, you can send them a direct mail, send them a postcard. Many things you can do when you have this information. So those are two things I would say: list source, and use batch skip tracing to get the phone numbers as well. You have your cell phone. If you don't want to use a dialer, which is like a dialer is something to auto dial numbers for you. If you don't want to use that, you simply use Google Voice. You use Google Voice or use your cell phone, and just go ahead and get started that way.
Thank you. I'm certainly going to check out one of those tools myself. If not, my team will be checking that out, because I think tools simplify life for busy people like you and I, and I'm sure Bill in our audience will be doing the same thing. Now, moving on, I've discovered personally in my own journey as an entrepreneur that mindset plays a huge part in any area that you go into. In your opinion, having helped hundreds of people again, what sort of mindset that, to a certain degree, virtually guarantees success in applying these very steps we've been talking about?
Well, I mean, to be frank, first things first, nothing is ever guaranteed, of course, in any business. But to be able to reach success in this business, I will say that you have to be relentless. You have to have a relentless mindset. You have to be a super elite individual. What I mean by this is there's no time for any feeling of doubt, like self-doubt, like no confidence. You have to be like, you have to understand that when you're speaking with people, you are the expert. You are the expert in your field. So the more confidence you have in yourself, the more that'll be portrayed off, when you speak with people, to be able to, make things happen, to close deals and, get things done. The mindset is very important. I would say that if you can hold yourself to a standard, if you want to think of terms of, being a 1 out of 10, you want to be a 20. You want to be operating at a super high level. And everyone else is going to see that. It's going to rub off on other people as well. And people are going to take you serious and want to do business with you. Now, if you're like very, shy, you don't really want to actually get out there and be confident and speak, actually speak and be heard, then that's something that won't really translate well at all in this real estate business. It's not something that is for the weak-hearted. It's something that you need to be strong. You need to be, a very outspoken individual. and be confident in yourself and have that mindset that you're going to make it happen no matter what. Like there's no plan B. Don't give yourself a plan B. There's just plan A, and it has to work. Like it has to work. There's no other option. You have to think like that and abide by that, and have those actual values in yourself to be able to be successful in this business. It's not a guarantee, but you'll be, very closely almost guaranteeing yourself success when you be able to do this. It just takes pushing and going farther and farther in this business, and you will see success. There's no point, there's no doing something all the time and getting good, getting better and better, and you don't reach any success.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And now, as we come toward the end of our time together here, and I know we have covered a great deal of information and strategies and steps that anybody can apply today, especially Bill in the audience here today. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about how to get started and how to do this very well that you would love to share with everybody before we wrap up?
You really want to make sure that you have some sort of knowledge. You want to kind of be able to walk the talk. You want to be able to walk the walk and also talk the talk. But you don't want to over exert yourself with so much information where you never get started. Like you don't want to have what we call in this business paralysis by analysis. You don't want to be analyzing something so long and don't ever make any action. So one thing I'd say is really get out there and like take massive action. Get out there and really make it happen. But definitely do your own due diligence and, learn some, and every time you learn something, you go apply it. That was my best thing that I did when I first got started in this business. I would learn one thing and then I would go apply it. And then I would run into another roadblock. Then I would go figure that out and I would go apply it. See, I'm an action taker. I don't wait around for things to just come to me or just happen. I go make it happen. So you have to go and make things happen, but learn what you need to learn from whoever. There's plenty of credible sources out there, where even if it's not me per se, but I do provide a lot of information to people, especially getting started in this business, on how to get started, how to get their first deal, how to scale their business, how to go about having a team and things like that, branding and things like that. So, yeah, most definitely I would say would be to, do your own due diligence, do some learning and do some research, but take action on the things that you learn. Don't sit around and want to learn for an entire year and never do anything, because you could be, failing forward this entire time rather than just being stagnant.
Absolutely outstanding. Thank you so much for such a great interview and for your generosity in sharing what is working in your life today and what is working in other people's lives today with my audience here today. And would you share with everybody how they can connect with you? Maybe it's your website or even it's your social media, because I know there will be people in the community here that would love to learn further and can carry on from what we have started talking about here today. So please give everybody the best way to connect with you today.
Yes, of course. Well, my name on all social media platforms is my brand name, and that is The Wealth Blueprint. Now, it's spelled a bit different. So, blueprint is actually spelled BLEUPRINT. So, The Wealth Blueprint, spelled BLEUPRINT. It's a little bit different, so it's not the actual spelling of how you actually spell blueprint, but that's my brand. And the Wealth Blueprint is going to be on Instagram. We have YouTube. I have TikTok, and also Facebook. We also have a LinkedIn as well that we just, getting into as well. But those are the best places to find me. I'm most active on Instagram. So, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well. So I have over 250 videos on each platform, teaching people, how to really get started in this business and, a few tips and tricks. But yeah, I'm there. If you want to do one-on-one, we can discuss that as well. You can apply for a mentorship, masterminds and things like that. I have those things. And I also have a few digital products. I have an ebook that was just released recently. It's on, it's on KDP, Amazon. And we also have an audio book coming and an actual course coming as well. So big things in store for sure towards the end of the year.
This has been outstanding, and I cannot thank you enough for your generosity and how you've been so selfless in helping people with the right steps they need to take today. Until next time, live well, live with passion, know that the best is yet to come.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yeukai.businessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.